In the jungles of West Africa, there once lived a spider named Anansi. Most of the day he would sleep, eat, and make webs in his home. Anansi was tricky, curious, and sometimes lazy. Hey, Yasso, go get me some bugs. I'm too lazy and I have a sore throat, so go get me the bugs. Anansi, go get me some food. I'm too lazy. Anansi lived with his beautiful wife, Asso. Asso was nice, tricky, and sometimes smart and silly. Most of the day she would look for food, relax, and pick fruit in her tree. Anansi, are you swinging on that vine again? Maybe. One day, Anansi and Asso were at home talking about Nyame, the sky god, who owned all of their stories. Anansi and Asso wanted his stories. I'm going to visit the sky god. Psst, I want Nyame's story. Before going to visit Nyame on the top of the mountain, Anansi told Asso an idea, and then he told her he's going to visit the sky god. I'm going to visit the sky god. When he was finished, Anansi left home to find Nyame. Anansi walked through the jungle. Along the way, he saw a snake, a tiger, and a web, and trees with mangoes and bananas. Finally, Anansi arrived at the base of the mountain. Finally, I made it to the top of the mountain. Anansi started climbing the mountain. Halfway up, Anansi stopped to rest. He rested his foot and his back. Oh, my back! It hurts! It's broken! After his rest, Anansi continued climbing to the top of the mountain. Only a few more feet to go. At the top of the mountain, Anansi shouted to Nyame. He said, I want your story, Sky God. I want your story, Sky God. Nyame's face looked like he was mad. His beard looked like clouds, and his body looked like blue clouds. I want your story, Sky God.
You'll never get my stories.
Nyame laughed when he heard Anansi ask for his stories. In exchange for the stories, he wanted 4 impossible things.
You'll never get my stories.
The first challenge was to bring Onini, the great python, to Nyame. Onini was as big as a fire truck and as poisonous as a poisonous ivy leaf.
I'm Onini, the great python.
Onini lived deep in the jungle close to the river. Anansi and Asso walked through the jungle towards Onini's favorite river. Along the way, they saw trees, dirt, and water in the river. Anansi and Asso arrived at the river. We made it to the river! And Anansi and Asso heard Onini coming towards the river. They started to argue. Anansi said Onini was as big as a falcon. Also said Onini was small as an ant. Onini slithered up and asked them why they were arguing. Anansi told Onini that they were arguing about how big the snake really was. Onini was so angry he kicked and he lost his teeth. Anansi had an idea. Aha! Anansi said Onini should lay on a nearby log and stretch out so they could measure him. Onini, lay on that log! Onini stretched as big as a person and kind of looked like a giant. See how big I am! When Onini was fully stretched, Anansi tied him to the log with his whip. Anansi took Onini up to the mountain to Nyame. Because it was hard for Anansi to carry Onini up the mountain, he used a person with peanut butter and jelly to make it easier. Nyame was surprised that Anansi had completed one of the impossible tasks.
I can't believe it.
The second challenge was to bring up Sable the leopard, whose teeth was as sharp as dangers.
Sable was a leopard and as big as a dinosaur. Sable lived deep in the jungle. Anansi and Asa walked through the jungle towards Sable's favorite drinking spot.
Along the way, they saw waterfalls, vines, and animals in the trees.
Anansi and Asa had an idea. Anansi and Asa found a perfect spot to dig a giant hole in the ground.
Aha! The perfect spot!
Good, now get to work, you lazy bum. You dig the hole, then you claw, feet, and teeth. To hide the hole, they covered it with dirt, leaves, and animal fur. Suddenly, a sable came walking through the jungle. He was busy looking at the trees and the sky shape. Then he did not see the hole.
La 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 la, walking through the jungle. Ah, this is some beautiful trees.
Sable fell into the hole. Sable screamed for someone to help him. Anansi heard him. When Anansi looked into the hole, he saw Sable yelling and called for his friends and trying to get out.
Help! Friends, help!
Anansi tied his whip around Sable to help Sable out from the hole, but Anansi never untied him.
I'll help you, Sable. Psych!
Anansi took Sable up the mountain to Nyame. Because it was hard for Anansi to carry Sable up the mountain, he used a web to make it easier.
Nyame was surprised that Anansi had completed another one of the impossible tasks.
You have completed another test.
The third challenge was to bring the 40 stinging hornets to Nyame. The hornets were crazy, evil, and rude.
They lived in their nest up in a very tall tree. Anansi and also walked through the jungle towards the tree where the hornets lived.
Along the way, they saw snakes, parrots, and frogs.
Anansi and also had an idea.
Anansi found a huge gourd that looked like a hornet's nest.
Yay, I found a gourd.
To hollow it out, he used water, knives, and pollen. When it was empty, he filled the ground with water.
Anansi climbed the tree where the hornets lived.
Anansi pretended to make it rain. First he poured water, then he pretended that there was lightning.
The hornets flew out of the nest. The hornets got scared when they thought it was raining. When hornets get scared, they run around. They saw a new house and they got into it. Anansi told them they should fly into his gourd. When he had 47 inside, he put a cork in the gourd so they could not get out.
Anansi took the hornets up to the mountain to Nyame.
Because it was hard for Anansi to carry them up the mountain, he used a web to make it easier.
Nyame was nervous that Anansi only had one more task to complete.
Oh no, he's getting closer to my story.
The fourth and final challenge was to bring a real-life fairy to Nyame. The fairies were dancing, slapping, and shaking their booty in the air when the music was playing. They lived deep in the forest underneath the magic tree.
Anansi and also walked through the jungle towards the magic tree where the fairies lived. Along the way, they saw trees, animals, and grass.
Anansi and also had an idea.
Aha! Also started to make her famous fufu. To make her fufu, also had to get the bowl, put some squash, cornmeal, and pound it with a stick. When she finished, she put it in boil and served it with some delicious fufu with her friends.
Delicious! Anansi thought to make a puppet out of sweet potatoes.
To make the puppet, Anansi needs to grow the potato, stick it with glue, and then make a web to control it.
Anansi put the puppet with the fufu under the magic tree. When the fairies smelled the fufu, they came out from the hiding.
One fairy ate the whole bowl of food. When she finished, one said thank you.
Thank you. It was delicious.
The puppet did not respond.
When I said thank you to you, you didn't answer me. You're rude.
So the fairy got angry.
When fairies get angry, they get wild and yell at each other. The fairy kept hitting the puppet and got stuck to the sweet potato puppet. And Nancy tied up the fairy with his web. And Nancy took the fairy up the mountain to Nyame.
Because it was hard for Anansi to carry the fairy up the mountain, he used a sticky web to make it easier.
Nyame was very surprised, but he kept his word and gave the stories to Anansi.
I can't believe that I have to give him the stories. I can't believe it.
When he got home, Anansi had also had a huge party. Oh yeah!
I can't believe it.